Hello, namaskar, and welcome once again to the DEE Show. I'm your host and host, Dr. D, and once again I'm back with some power-packed conversations from another industry leader, which is going to not just influence our perceptions but also inspire. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my endeavor from the start of season one that we bring forth those conversations that matter and that can enlighten us towards better awareness towards that specific industry. Also, give us those leadership insights that we need to imbibe to be a better version of ourselves. So today I have roped in a leader from the adtech industry. Well, in the current times, adtech world has been going places. And for those of you who are aware about it, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. AdTech brings in many, many opportunities, not just in employability, but also in terms of what kind of client solutions we can provide. But here's what's important there are challenges, just like other industries in AdTech as well. What sort of a paradigm shift have we seen in the industry pre and post COVID? Let's get some of these answers from a leader who personifies excellence. It is my privilege to invite here with me on the D Show with our opinions, our perspectives from the ad tech world, none other than the Chief Business Officer for We Serve, Narayan Jaesingh. Well, join me in welcoming Narayan. Welcome to the D Show.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Divya Jetli. Really appreciate your time and look forward to an exciting conversation with our friends watching the show today.
Absolutely. And I think ad tech industry has been, in talks for a while now, and we've seen a good paradigm shift in the last decade, pre and post pandemic. Let's first dumb it down and bring 35,000 feet to 2,000 feet. Tell us a little about ad tech world.
Brilliant. No, indeed, it has gone a paradigm shift and starting from the basics or scoping what is the ad tech, let's put it, it's advertising technology. It is using technology for effective advertising on digital media. Now, to draw a parallel between pure advertising and advertising technology, like today we have print media. We all get newspapers at home, right? You may see a front page cover ad. The same newspaper is being read by a rickshawala, a tea stall vendor, and the same newspaper is being read by Mr. Mukesh Ambani. So,
True.
bottom of the pyramid to top of the pyramid, the entire spectrum is getting access to the same creative, but are they the audience for the brand? Not really, right? That's where technology comes in. That how do you
Right.
digitize this? How do I segment my target audiences, right? So if a socioeconomic classification A is what is relevant for me, how do I find digital properties where I can get in touch with this segment and only show an ad relevant to them and exclude everyone else? So for example, uh, beauty products which are female oriented, right? If I see it, 9 out of 10 I will reject the ad or say that, oh, what a waste, right? But the brand is spending money, right? So how about they get
Right.
digitally a segment which is targeted to women interested in fashion, interested in beauty, right? They see an ad, it generates some interest in them, and they go and visit the product, right? They go and visit the store, they try out the product. Now that is where the technology part in advertising comes in.
And this is where, when we say in layman terms that the phones are always listening. Is
Yes.
that data that you're harnessing? Because when I talk about makeup and suddenly on my Instagram and Google feed, I have a lot of makeup ads. Is that what you guys are doing?
Sure. So not really the same thing. That
Hmm.
is more done at the hardware level by the OEMs. OEM is original equipment manufacturers. So
Sure.
our phones have got microphones,
Hmm.
right? There is unproven theory that WhatsApp is reading or hearing us, right?
Right.
And because WhatsApp is a property of Meta, it
Right.
shows you the voice, the keywords that you speak. It shows
Hmm.
you targeted ads next time when you open Meta account, right?
Right.
The phones are Android, so if you search something on Google and you log on to any other Google property, you'll see those ads
It's-
coming.
Exactly.
Yes. So it's all interconnected from the OS, right? Now that is different. This is honestly a little intrusive. It's happening globally, right? What we do is we do data driven targeting. Now, what is data driven targeting? Like, let's take an example of World Cup match. We've been watching World Cup on Hotstar. Hotstar has got
Right.
4 crore users, 5 crore concurrent users at the same time. They made headlines with 5.6 crore users logging at the same time, right?
Right.
Now, all these 5.6 crore users are being shown ads, right? While the match is there, while the over is getting changed. Now, imagine all 5.6 crores seeing the same ad. How boring, right? So that's where we come in. We've got a technology, we've got a algorithm in place, we've got access to data where we say that segment your users. So out of 5.6 crore, can 50 lakhs see an automobile ad? Can the remaining
Wow.
can the remaining 50 lakhs see something with beauty products or consumer electronics?
Uh-huh.
Can 10 lakhs see kids product because they're a family and there's a young mother in the house, right? Can 20 lakhs see something about a foreign trip because they're travelers, right?
So,
That's where
and
the
this is
data,
happening real time. I mean, this
real
is
time,
yeah. Oh my
real time,
God.
right? So what you do is brands work with us, they segment their users, create cohorts, and they run
Right.
separate campaign per cohort. The
Wow.
reason they do that is, like, you've heard the word ROI, return on
Mm-hmm.
investment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a term in the advertising domain that a CMO or a chief digital officer is normally measured on. It's called return on ad spends, right?
Interesting.
So they want to have a higher ROAS, higher return on ad spends, and that's how they do it. So otherwise, you show 5.6 crore, the same ad, barely less than a percent shows interest. They don't click on it. They are not interested. You spend that
Right.
money on 5.6 crores, getting practically nothing, right? Versus you segmented, you run 20 campaigns on 5.6 crore base. I see an ad of traveling abroad. I'm interested, and I'll click on it. Let's see what's the offer, right? So I'm shown interest. I've shown interest in the product. I go on the brand's website, or I show interest in saying that, there's a CTA, which is call to action, where I'll say, okay, call me back,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So they see that, I've got a lead to then sales, then sales to product value. The funnel goes on, right? And then they say,
Wow.
okay, I spent $100 on Hotstar. What was my ROS, right?
Right.
Now, ROS is the matrix that we are influencing. To
So tell
see
me something, is it only the OTTs who are using this, or is it prevalent now in every industry?
every single industry started off with the largest social media platform, Facebook and Instagram, uh,
Absolutely.
Google properties. So Google actually first started with search. So you
Mm-hmm.
go on browser, you search cricket, you'll see some links coming to you. They are called search-based links. People bid for those keywords, like, okay, cricket, whatever, something to with cricket, like Crick Buzz or Dream 11, etc. So they bid for those keywords. So your company's web links come higher in the order.
Hiring,
Now
right.
that's base level. That's version one. That's generation one of advertising. Generation two is, I search on cricket, I log on to Meta. I should see cricket relevant ads in my news feeds, right?
Right.
That's generation two. Generation three is, I see it on my Meta. I also instantly get a WhatsApp from some affiliate partner of WhatsApp. Hey, you know what? Narayan just searched on Google something on cricket. Send him an offer on WhatsApp. you know, that's
So
generation three.
how exposed do you feel with your family on this? Since you know the inside information about all of this, how do you protect yourself?
You can't. Yes, but you can be cognizant of the fact that you're leaving your digital breadcrumbs
Right.
everywhere. How much to leave, how much to control, how much to protect is what I'm aware of. So I know I can't insulate myself, but can I
Right.
be conscious? Can I be aware that, okay, this data that I'm revealing to XYZ, what is the potential repercussion, right? Like, we would have visited malls, and there would be somebody coming in saying, sir, we are from a holiday company. This is a small slip. You just want a gift or a high chances you will win something. Give your name, number, and we'll call you. I never fill such forms, right?
Right.
Because I don't know to who the data is going, right? Now, a bankers would be calling us, a demat brokers would be calling us, share brokers would be
Mm-hmm.
calling, and saying, sir, for KYC, WhatsApp me your Aadhaar. Sir, just WhatsApp me your PAN. Sorry, sir.
Okay, we just lost Narayan there. Maybe a little bit of a technical glitch, but we're going to wait for Narayan to come back. Narayan, we are waiting for you to come back. Yes,
Yes,
you're
I'm so
back.
sorry.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's okay. Let's bring Narayan back in.
I'm so sorry
Yes.
for this. Yeah.
No worries at all. I mean, it's the tech world. It's making our life easier and it's making it tougher.
So I'm not sure where you lost me. I'll rewind from there.
Yes, so we were talking about the do's and don'ts, what we have to be careful.
Okay, got it. So first, never share anything of your identity on a digital platform, unauthorized digital platform
So
with a
when
third
people
party.
ask you for KYC, what do? You don't.
No, so if I first see that he's a legitimate employee of the bank that I'm dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
if I have to give him a photocopy of my documents, I sign it on top. This is issued to XYZ bank for the purpose of potentially being evaluated for ABC product on this day. Any other
Right.
use apart from this is illegal and unauthorized, right?
Right. Right.
And I ask him to acknowledge it back by taking a photocopy and putting a bank stamp that I acknowledge this is what you have given me and nothing more, right?
Well, this is very helpful, and I think a lot of our viewers can take some leads from here because when my
Absolutely.
banks call me for KYC, we just send them scanned
No,
copies without even attesting them.
no. And B, never send anyone, whether a bank, because he's an employee of the bank. Tomorrow, what if he leaves
Right.
the bank and joins ISIS, right?
Right. Right.
I'm just
Right.
saying extreme case, but what if
Sure.
he has access to your
Absolutely.
documents, right?
Absolutely.
So why take all these chances? Because bank has not told you that please share your documents with this gentleman on WhatsApp, right?
Right. Right.
So our
Exactly.
RBI is very clear on how you share your documents. SEBI is very clear that how you share your document with your brokers, right?
Right.
So when they are clear, we've not read the fine print. We go on trust. RM says that, "Arey sir, bhej do, kuch nahi hoga," and we said, "ठीक है यार, RM ही तो है." But what if? What if?
But I mean, it is proven that all the telecom companies are selling data. I mean, there was so much controversy there. Talking about telecom, you've been a part of telco, you were a part of BFSI, and now you're a part of AdTech. And I can see a lot of passion as an AdTech leader because you are bringing in a lot of business for your company and you are going places. You are IMA chairperson for the Mumbai chapter. You're doing well, Narayan, but honestly, I mean, which industry did you enjoy the most?
So honestly, there has been a logical progression in these three industries. So I've
Mm-hmm.
spent 14 years in telco. So if I have to pick out of the three, which is my favorite, I would say telco because
Wow.
the reason is because that people are using your products for livelihood, as in people are making from they're doing
Right.
businesses from their phone. If their phone is down for half an hour, their blood pressure will go through the roof,
Wow.
right? So
So there's a lot of man management, emotions
yes,
management, as well as you're doing social impact because you're
plus
connecting the people.
exactly, I was about to say that. B, it helps you connect with people, right?
Right.
But the least common denominator or the connecting factor between telco, BFSI, and AdTech is product management and data. Everything around data and a product proposition coming out of data, right? So telco
Mm-hmm.
started off with SIM card. As the teledensity grew, how do you make people to use SIM card more? You start analyzing the data. What are they doing? When are they speaking? How many minutes? Then you moved on to data when 4G came, right? So after 14
Yeah.
years in telco, I wanted to cross pollinate this data and product proposition skill set into another industry, which was again data and product proposition heavy. And what came to my mind was BFSI, right? So moved to
So it was
BFSI.
a thought out move from
Yes,
telco to BFSI.
yes.
And then AdTech happened, or was that also like a
No, it
very.
coincidentally happened because in my
Okay.
BFSI role, I was leading M&A for a credit bureau, and we invested in the current ad tech company that I'm working in because of the data proposition. So we thought, why not integrate ad tech data with BFSI data and solve targeting and advertising related problems for the BFSI, right?
Hmm.
During the course of the investment, the founder and I became good friends. And post the investment, he said that you have a good data mindset, you've got a good product proposition mindset, why don't you join us and we can grow this company together. And I
Right.
never worked in a so to say startup, right? Always worked
So
in large organizations with 5,000 manpower, 10,000 manpower. I said, okay, how does it feel to work with a company with 100 manpower?
You're a one man army. Ask me.
Absolutely. So here you are like P2P, peon to president, you know,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So housekeeping is your issue, contract is your issue, legal is your issue, tea has not come on time, the vendor has backed out, that's your issue. So it was interesting. I thought, okay, let's take this up. And I felt that I'm enjoying this role the most because I'm actually moving the needle. I can feel it. I
Wow.
know that the responsibility of not delivering in a single month can cost a lot of employment related issues, right? Because we are
Right.
generating cash, we're not burning cash like a lot of startups,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
relying on funding. So I know that, okay, if my founder, my co-founder, me plus my CFO, if four of us don't toil it out, there are 96 paychecks that can get potentially impacted. So get up and
Right.
move it. So yeah, that thrill keeps you going, that thrill keeps you innovating, right? In the
Right.
earlier role, you were part of a 5,000 manpower company. You had a feeling that, okay, 4,999 will take care of it.
Talking about the earlier roles, larger organizations versus startup, I mean, there's a lot of generational diversity who watch our program, and I want to impact and influence the youth by drawing parallels of maybe two challenges that you faced in a big organization versus the startup organization. Can you
Sure.
advise us? Like, what do you think were those two areas of maybe not just challenges, but yeah, of concern in a large organization versus a startup?
So large organization, while it has its pros and cons, but
True.
I think so. If you are an intrapreneur, so there's an entrepreneur and there's an
Sure.
intrapreneur, right? So
True.
if your entrepreneurial mindset, you want to do a lot. Unfortunately, you may hit a bumpy ride because of process, bureaucracy,
Right. Yeah.
right? Because maybe your head of department is not that entrepreneurial like you, right? So he'll say, dude, just chill. Matlab, it's fine, you're doing it. Maybe he's aligned but other departments aren't, right? Because it's a culmination of all departments moving at the same time to make your project successful,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we would have often experienced, right, if you take a product from a large organization, like say for example an automobile,
Mm-hmm.
each and every consumer's experience at the service center is different, right?
True.
Why is that? Because there are so many moving parts in a large organization, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many moving parts you just can't control. That's where these concepts of quality and Six Sigma came up, that okay, how do you give uniform experience, how do you standardize the processes, right?
Right.
In a smaller organization, the bureaucracy is technically not there, right? And if the top guys are aligned, and they so it's top to bottom, right?
Exactly.
And that's where, if you're aligned, things move really fast. Like I see here agreements like as simple as closing an agreement. In my organization, I can close it in 3-4 hours, but in my earlier
Wow.
organization it would take minimum a week only to get the other person to open his email and read that there's an agreement pending in his mailbox.
So faster decision making in a smaller
Absolutely.
organization. And I think that brings in a lot of intellectual gratification.
Absolutely. And the second advantage that I've noticed in a smaller organization is visibility of your talent, right? Even at the junior levels, if you're doing well, your exposure is quick and fast, right? Like for example, if you're say in a large IT organization, 1 lakh manpower, 2 lakh manpower, you are an entry level coder doing fab job. Would the MD even come to know who's written this code? Right?
No.
So because there's a 1 lakh, there's a strength of 1 lakh people, right?
Right.
So it's you're lost in that maze somewhere, right? And then you are in some part of the country doing some coding work, right? Nobody cared two hoots from the other geography what you're doing there. So I believe that you have to be very clear that, are you aspirational, are you entrepreneurial in nature? Would
Right.
you subscribe to Mr. Narayan Murthy's view of working 70 hours a week? If yes, please join a mid-sized company, right?
Hmm.
If you're
Hmm.
looking for a
Correct.
retirement kind of a career, that slow pace, I'm okay if things go at their own pace, then yes, definitely join large organizations because there's no rush for anything.
What would you advise a 20-year-old Narayan? How to start the career?
Definitely start with a small to mid-sized company,
Okay. Do
get your footing.
more.
Yes, good.
Okay.
Get your footing. I create an identity for yourself. Like honestly, if I
Mm-hmm.
was in BFSI or telco, Dr. Divya, we would not be having this conversation because I wouldn't have much meat to talk about, right?
Talk
Because
about it. True.
it's largely process driven. It's largely organization dependent. Here I am the organization. I'm supposed to move things, right? My employees look
Right.
up to me that, okay, dude, move it, you know. so
True.
so if
True.
you are I definitely would recommend to start from a medium to small size company so that you create your own brand, you know what you're good at, and then
Right.
replicate that success in a large organization.
Right. Well, you've seen as the CPO a lot of uncertainties in the ad tech industry and in your current company. And we were having an offline chat. Tell us a little about it. How did you overcome uncertainty? Did you, as a leader, have to face any challenge that was really trying?
Yes, couple of them, especially when you're working with a small or medium. Every day doesn't end unless you face a couple of challenges, right? You feel you get those withdrawal symptoms. No challenge today, something is wrong.
Too smooth.
Won't be so smooth, you know. So, couple of them, but I'll give a very simple one when it comes to hiring. Like
Right.
now, hiring is a very subjective view, right? Yeah. So there was a role that we were looking for. We advertised it. We got interesting CVs, right? I came across of a CV of a lady
Mm-hmm.
who had some good credentials, but was on a sabbatical for 2 years. I said, okay, no harm. So my other colleague, his view was, oh, don't take people from sabbatical. They're out of touch. They're out of sync, right? Maybe the mindset is not ready right now. So forget it. And I was like, the lady has meat. Let's talk to her,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
We don't want to know reasons for her sabbatical. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Let's talk to her, right? So I said, there's no harm in at least having a conversation, right? In
Right.
that conversation, I found her 9.5 out of 10 in terms of ability, in terms of grasping power, in terms of smartness, in terms of willingness to contribute. You know,
Sure.
I just asked her one point blank question: how motivated are you to join the workforce and give your best? She said,
Right.
I can join after this call, right?
Wow. That's a very good reply.
Exactly. So I was of the view that give it a shot. Let's give it a shot because
Hmm.
it's like this, you know, in stock market, if you trade in equities, you take a bet on some company, right? The stock
Exactly.
exchange is not giving you guarantee that put money and I will give you XYZ result. You go as per your gut calculation, you check the financials, you check the future of the company, the order book, etc. And then you say that, okay, let me take a bet on this. So coming from
Right.
that mindset, I said let's bet on this candidate. And my colleague was a little strong-headed, saying that no, 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 and I said, okay, I am the hiring manager, I approve this candidate, let's go ahead, let's see. It got escalated to HR that
Oh,
2 year sabbatical resource is being considered, right? So I had to answer to HR that why other candidates were not preferred who were regular employed in some marquee names. And
right.
my answer to HR was, would you prioritize attitude or would you prioritize sabbatical? Right?
Wow.
So what you're looking for in the candidate is attitude.
Correct.
Sabbatical or no sabbatical doesn't matter. And I flipped the question to the HR that assuming if the candidate was not on sabbatical, then there would be no problem, right? So it's only sabbatical which is an issue, no? Assuming she
Yes.
was pursuing her hobby, I'll tell her to resend a CV and say pursuing a hobby as a painter. Would that, you know? So I'm like, come on, appreciate. It's like this. We call it in Six Sigma, CTQ, critical to quality,
Yes. Critical to
right?
quality. Yeah.
What is important to you? What is that one factor that is important to you, right? I was clear. Candidate has got energy, has got enthusiasm, is motivated, is honest. She told she has some personal reasons for taking a sabbatical. And I said, okay, skills are in place. She grasped the whole role before coming on the call. She did her research about the company. She read about ad tech. I'm like, what more do you want in a candidate, right? I said, let's go
And
ahead.
the sabbatical, in any case, would have been used to negotiate numbers. So she's anyway going to be taking a hit on numbers because of the sabbatical. But you can't do anything about the attitude, can you?
Brilliant about the number point. I forgot to touch upon that. So the lady was drawing X.
Yes.
uh, I had put up the role with a budget of almost 60% of that X more, 60% more. So if the lady was earning,
Sure.
100, my budget as salary was 160.
Right.
My colleague came back and said, "Oh, she's on a sabbatical. No, just give her 5% increment." And my answer was, "Why so? She's not earning, so any money is good money." And my response
Okay.
was, "Your budget is 160. How does sabbatical influence the budget, right?"
Right.
You earmarked 160 rupees as the cost of the employee.
Correct.
Candidate has met the intellectual criteria. Just give her 160. So the response that I got, but she was on a sabbatical. I still couldn't fathom the logic between sabbatical and increment. I'm like, what? How are they connected? I said, so if Shah Rukh Khan doesn't do a movie for 5 years, will he lower his fees because I didn't do a movie for 5 years? you know. So I
Yeah.
went ahead. I convinced HR. I said, look, I'm taking a risk on this candidate. I'm approving 160. Give 160 to the candidate. Because that's my budget. And these are employee modification. Now imagine the lady's motivation when she comes after 2 years, joins the workforce, sees a
I know.
60% jump in her pay package, and says that, oh, I'm going to give my best because this company gave me a second inning, right?
Exactly.
I'm like, look, up her motivation rather than demotivating her,
Demotivate her.
right?
Right.
And she's using you only as a jump that, okay, let me get back to the formal workforce, 6 months, 1 year, let me hang around and let me move on. I said, you don't want to seed those thoughts, right? So why don't you do it? And this risk,
Finding the right talent is like super difficult in your industry.
absolutely. And this paid off really well because in the first 3 months of the candidate joining, she has not only helped us crack 5 big deals, which we were not able to do as an organization, right?
Wow. That's great.
Five big deals in the first quarter itself, right?
Is she getting an incentive for it or no?
Absolutely. Hers is fixed plus incentive. So, and that was my response to HR, that now was the candidate worth your inhibitions that you were carrying with respect to sabbatical, with respect to
Right.
growth separate for a sabbatical candidate and a separate growth for a working candidate. I said, look, your CTQ has to be talent and attitude. If that is taken care, everything else is a periphery.
Everything else. Right.
You know,
Talking about motivation and demotivated and rejection, tell me, have you ever been rejected?
I can't even remember the count how many times I've been rejected.
Tell us one experience when you got rejected, you felt demotivated, like your life is coming to an end, because I'm sure a lot of our audiences will relate to that. And
Sure.
how did you overcome it?
So I'll give a work related
Yes.
experience. We are a B2B organization, right? So the sales cycle can vary from 1 month to 6 months to 8 months, depending on the size of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
We were in active conversations with an overseas player,
Mm-hmm.
right? He showed interest, a couple of exchanges. For 8 months, there were rigorous interactions between us and the senior management of the overseas client.
Mm-hmm.
NDAs were signed, overseas bank accounts were opened. That okay, the deal will go through. Parallelly, let's work on, the other formalities. On the 10th month, the guy that whom we were talking to, for some reason he left, right? Because one day we
Okay.
just got an last working day email, and I'm like, oops, I thought yesterday we just had a review call, and he's like, no, I was under a clause where I could not reveal, etc., etc., and today is my last day.
Okay.
Okay, fine, these things happen in large organizations, people move on. The new gentleman comes and he says, okay, I don't know what you guys were interacting, let's start from fresh, you know so we said, okay, no problem, let's do that. We did a quick summary, a quick recap, and in a month's time, we were able to onboard him. End of 11th month, he says, "You know what? Sorry, I'm scrapping the project. I don't have budget for this." You know,
Are you serious?
yes. And I'm like, okay, do I shoot myself or do I shoot you first, or do I shoot the person who left the company? Now, 11 months, you have invested, you have
Yeah.
paid money to lawyers, you've paid money to some legal consultants to help you open overseas accounts, overseas representations, right? That's a sunk cost that I've already incurred.
Right.
In lieu or in hope that the contract that I will get will cover these costs in the first year itself. And
Correct.
this gentleman says that, you know what, sorry, I'm scrapping the project because you have no budget for this. And my next question to him was, okay, when did the budget got scrapped? And last month you had all the budgets. In 1 month, what happened? So he said, my priorities are different and this project is not my priority.
Wow.
Now, what are you
So
doing?
much time invested and So
And
what do you do? How did you tackle it?
perfect. So what do? You go to his competitor. So we went to his competitor, or rather we are
Right.
in talks with his competitor, saying that, hey, you know what, this is what we can do for your market, this is what we can do in your country, this is what we can do for your users. It's really relevant because the 10-month so it's like this. When this rejection came, very honestly, for 2 3 days we all were demotivated. But then we said that, how do we turn this, how do we flip this in our favor?
Hmm.
We said, okay,
Hmm.
what is the learning of that market that you've got in the last 10 months? Let's redeploy that somewhere else. you know
Right. Right. That's why I tell everybody that Narayan's middle name is strategy.
so we said the client gave us good market feedback, gave us a good
Right.
insight about how that country's market operates. That's valuable, right?
Hmm.
It's only the logo that is changing. So we were talking to brand A. Now we need to bring that knowledge to brand B, right? So for us, it's only a change from A to B. Nothing else changes, right?
Interesting.
So we did a cold call, reached out to brand B, and
Hmm.
said, hey, you know what? My pitch was better this time. It was more crisp, extremely sharp, to the point. And I said, hey, you know what? I think so. Your market requires this. You're getting in that direction. How about ABC? I do it for you, you know? And boom, I get a message that, yes, this is what we were looking for. Let's get on a call.
Oh, wow. So did you sign them up? The
It's
cost get finally covered?
it's WIP, keeping fingers crossed.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes. I hope you get
But
it.
the point that I wanted to table it, that we didn't take that rejection as a permanent one and sulk over it. We converted it as an
Hmm.
opportunity that, okay, what's the learning? How do you repackage yourself with a better learning now? What is
Right.
that market insight that you've got which you didn't have 10 months earlier? And
Hmm.
now, who are the likely competitors of brand A that we were talking to who would be interested in a similar proposition? Because that gentleman's priority was different. Maybe the other company, it's still their priority, right? So we were able to open doors.
Absolutely. And that's a great way to see challenge as an opportunity and just pivot your business. And a lot of
Absolutely.
leaders who are not, at the helm of affairs don't think beyond the box, but you
Absolutely.
did.
Absolutely.
So, I would like to understand that while you faced rejections as recent as this, and you've seen a lot of uncertainties, and yet you're driving the business so well ahead, how do you stay inspired and motivated? Like, how do you wake up every morning, or do you have some role models in data strategy, technology that you like to look up to or hear from them to stay inspired?
So, a simple answer for this: yes, I do read a lot with respect to what's happening in the digital world, what's happening in the consumer world. And quite honestly, on weekends, I visit stores, stand at the cash counter just to see how the consumers interacting with the brand, right? And
Okay,
because when you see people in large format stores, somebody's carrying a 1 SKU bag, somebody's carrying a 10 SKU bag, and you just
right,
understand that, okay, why are they shopping here? What's their attachment with the brand? And people are shopping online. I read a lot of research that why X brand is better in grocery delivery over B. What is B's shortcoming, right? Talk to people like you and say that, hey, you know what, you order online, what's your experience, what do you like, what do you dislike?
right.
It's primary research, right? Unfiltered primary research, no standard questions and standard answers. That's
And
one.
overthinking and
Exactly.
overanalyzing.
So I'm like, okay. B, you have to be internally fired for motivation.
Right, right.
I believe you can't draw motivation from external sources. It's like
Okay.
it's like hunger. Can you derive your hunger from somebody else? No, it is internally fired,
That's an
right?
interesting perspective.
Yeah, your stomach tells you, I'm hungry,
Right,
bring in food, right? So motivation, I believe, is best when it's internally fired. Then you have disconnected yourself from any external motivation or demotivation, right?
right.
And
But do
when I get
you do
up,
you have role models that you like to follow once in a while?
I think so. The best role model is when you look up to an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur knows that he's running the business.
Yes.
He has to feed houses, he has to feed employees, he has to get the paycheck rolling.
Hmm.
Their motivation level is on a different scale, right? So I look up to my founder for
Okay.
his motivation levels,
That's
uh,
great.
right? Because why go far when there's enough motivation in your own house, right? He's totally fired. You call him at 6 a.m. He's has the same energy as 11 p.m. Right? He doesn't say, "Oh, it's 6 a.m. Let's talk later." You're like, yeah, sure, sure. What's the agenda? Let's connect now and sort it out. Same at 11 p.m. If you call him, he's buzzing with the same energy levels, right? And that's where he's in a flow. There's a psychological term called being in the flow, right?
Right.
So when you reach a level of motivation, you're in a flow. And I really hope that people realize that what is their tipping point to get to the flow. And once you're in the flow, motivation, demotivation just doesn't matter.
Wow, that's very well said. So to summarize our discussion and conversation, Narayan, I've been inspired and I've really enjoyed this. I
Thank
hope
you.
you have too. Uh, what's your advice to Gen Z? Because obviously now our teams are getting filled with the younger generation who are born to a very sufficient lot. Their struggles are emotional. They are not motivated with the things that motivated you and me, right? Now, what is your advice to them?
So, as you rightly said, their struggles are different compared to us. Like,
Right.
to give you a small example, during my engineering days, if I had to call home, I was studying in a hostel. I had to wait for 9 p.m. so that the PCO rates could be one fourth. Have a line of
Exactly.
have a line of 10, 12 people ahead of me. Everybody getting just 3 or 4 minutes, right? Not like 1 hour,
Exactly.
and then call back and speak on a phone like a telegraph. I'm fine. You're fine. I'm okay. You're okay. Okay, fine. Everybody okay. Anybody died in the family? No, all are alive. Chalo, good. You know. So, but today's generation, they don't have to see these basic existential issues, right?
Correct.
My only advice to Gen Z would be stop going behind instant gratification, right? From dating. Divya, go back in history, right? If we had to ever in our early teens or 20s date somebody, there was no app that I just do left swipe or right swipe, right? And then I don't like him, I block him and say, okay, get out. We had to take that
Exactly.
effort of knowing that person, following our gut
Right.
instinct that, oh, is this person good for us or bad for us, right?
Right.
There's a lot of instant gratification that Gen Z is exposed to, and a lot of technology that is coming their way, which is getting abused, right?
Exactly.
Like the recent controversy with the leading South Indian actress, right? The deep fake
Yes.
videos.
Yes.
Now, the same technology you could put to good use as well, right?
Right.
Like there are some bunch of entrepreneurs I know in Israel with the same technology, with the same AI. They are doing such fascinating stuff, right? Which can change the world for the good. And their company is called AI for Good,
That's
right?
interesting.
So they're
Okay.
calling that how do you deploy AI for the betterment?
That's
And
nice.
they've done on a prototype where today, if you and I have to do a blood test, we have to call somebody will come home, or we have to visit a center, prick a needle, collect the blood sample, wait for a couple of hours. They've made a tester where with 4 or 5 ml of your saliva, in less than 30 minutes, all your vital parameters of your body can be out in a digital format, right?
Right.
Just like a testing
So
kit.
harnessing a lot of good potential out of
Yes.
the AI.
So
But but Gen Z, not all of them are bad. They are not abusing the digital transformation. They are just born in it.
but what is happening is they have been exposed to, I would say, the abuse part, or they're more exposed to the not so good part easily. It's all over us, right? I saw when the deep fake video was being circulated, the issue had gone to that level that prime minister of the country had to intervene and come up
Correct.
with some guidelines. Now imagine if the same video has to happen with you or me or anyone else, right? You're
Yeah.
not in the Israel-Palestine war, but what if some soldier's face is morphed as mine, and my family believes that, oh, my son is fighting a war? Just
Yeah.
imagine the repercussion it can have, right?
Absolutely.
And these are easy. It's available on dark web, right?
Right.
Dark web is so scary. It's so scary. There's everything available on dark web, which you and I are not exposed to because we don't use dark web. But when you
True.
meet people, the kind of stuff that is available, and it's a kick, right? Doing the not so permitted things for the Gen Z, it's a kick, right?
Right.
When you and I were teens, for us being famous was a kick. For these Gen Zs is what law have you broken?
Infamous. Be infamous.
Exactly, what law have you broken, right? What
Like,
illegal stuff have you done so easily which nobody can catch you?
So
right?
basically, be responsible, make
With
wiser
technology.
decisions with technology, especially. Right.
And stop instant gratification, the lure of instant gratification.
Right. Be more consistent in your efforts and
Exactly.
follow
There's,
your instinct.
yeah, technology and companies are giving us those services, but it's also making us poor planners, like instant grocery,
Right.
right? Our
Exactly.
parents never relied on instant grocery. They were well good planners. They used to plan well in advance.
And
That
yet we had everything always in the house.
exactly.
Right.
Now these companies are forcing you that, you know, lower your planning skills. Don't worry. Be responsible. We'll get you the stuff in 10 minutes.
Instant gratification again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and like this is, they are actually telling you that don't work on your planning skills, right?
Right.
It's not so, it's a wrong messaging if you believe in that, right? I strongly believe that has to be used to improve yourself, not to make yourself dependent on technology, that your brain is not working, right? Like chat gpt, oh my, it can only ruin things, right?
Right, right. Well, so many key takeaways from our conversation, Narayan. Thank you so much for your time. It has been a learning experience, and I'm pretty sure a lot of friends of ours who are going to watch this are going to learn a lot from this and imbibe it and make sure that they make a difference in their lives. So, thank you so much and have a great week ahead. It's a Monday when you made time for us. Thanks a ton.
Thank you so much, Dr. Divya, for this opportunity. Always been a fan of the D Show. I've been watching you from the earlier seasons, right?
Yes.
Feel a bit privileged to be sharing the stage with you and the earlier guest, right? So thank you so much for the opportunity, and hence took our time on a Monday to make this happen, because I don't want to let go of this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, my dear friends, so many key takeaways. We have to learn to use technology responsibly. And let's make that difference. And if we can influence and impact the younger generation around us, please make that wiser choice. Yes, technology is making our life easier, but how far are we going to let it creep into our life and take away all our skill sets just to be in the zone, like Narayan said, of instant gratification? So, lots to think, lots to learn, and let's just keep imbibing and being a better version of ourselves. I'm Dr. D, and it has been a pleasure to host this show again for all of you. I hope to bring back another leader from another industry. So, stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. Listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Amazon Music. We are there on all three channels. And keep learning, keep spreading the cheer. Bye bye.